We are looking at a story of shifting eras, tactical pivots, and some very blunt truths coming straight from inside the locker room. In this explainer, we're unpacking the massive, high-stakes preparation for the Indian cricket team's 2027 ODI World Cup mission. And we're diving right into the deep end with this spicy insider perspective from veteran spinner Ravichandran Ashwin. This really sets the stage for all the backstage drama we're looking at today. He's basically pointing out a massive institutional gap. He says there's been a total failure to document the rigorous planning of outgoing head coach Rahul Dravid. It's a statement that has absolutely ignited debate about the team's current direction. Here's how we're going to break it all down today. First, target 2027 World Cup. Second, the lost Dravid blueprint. Third, transitioning the veteran stars. Fourth, the BCCI's tall pace strategy. And finally, the quest for redemption. So, Part 1. Target 2027 World Cup. The clock is ticking, and the pressure is seriously mounting for the national team. 15. That is the exact number of months left until the 2027 ODI World Cup in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Namibia. Now, you might think that sounds like a long time, but in international cricket, 15 months is practically tomorrow. It creates this immense urgency for the management to lock in their strategies, like yesterday. What's really fascinating right now is the stark contrast in the recent performance. On one hand, you've got this era of incredible dominance. They've secured massive trophies like the T20 World Cups and the Champions Trophy. But on the flip side, they are coming off a brutal UK tour. They lost the T20I series in both Ireland and England and won just one single ODI out of 10 against England. So the reality is a chaotic, unsettled squad with blurry role definitions and only 15 months left on the clock. Which brings us to Part 2, the lost Dravid blueprint. To figure out the current chaos, we really need to look back at the documented, secure system that came right before it. It is literally a night and day difference between the previous and current coaching setups. Under Rahul Dravid, the system was entirely defined by role security. Guys like Shubman Gill at the top of the order or Shardul Thakur at number 8 overseas were given really long ropes to prove themselves. Compare that to what we're seeing now under the new management. Ashwin publicly likened it to a game of musical chairs, where players are reportedly feeling a distinct lack of security. Ashwin actually gave us a phenomenal peek behind the curtain here. He explained that when a coach truly backs you, you start taking the right risks instead of desperate ones. You aren't just playing to survive the next selection meeting, That psychological safety net, that freedom to fail without immediate consequence, it was the invisible foundation of Dravid's locker room culture. And this perfectly translates into real tactical flexibility. Ashwin brought up a specific moment. The 2023 World Cup. When star all-rounder Hardik Pandya got injured, honestly, it could have derailed the entire campaign. But Dravid's coaching staff didn't panic. They didn't scramble for a replacement that wasn't ready. They had planned ahead. They seamlessly shifted to a pre-planned Plan B, completely changing their structure to play 5 specialist bowlers. It's exactly this type of tight contingency planning that Ashwin argues should have been documented and passed on to the new regime. All right, moving on to Part 3. Transitioning the veteran stars. Because a coaching change isn't the only massive transition happening right now. The roster itself is facing a huge generational shift. This is the burning question on literally every cricket fan's mind as the team looks towards South Africa. How do you phase out the legends who have carried this team for over a decade? The brutal truth is that past glory just isn't guaranteeing future spots anymore. Reports are indicating that the selectors have allegedly informed Rohit Sharma, the guy who just led them to the Champions Trophy title, that he doesn't feature in their 2027 plans. That means his recent Lord's appearance could potentially be his last ever in ODIs. And even Virat Kohli isn't immune. Ashwin noted that while Kohli is batting beautifully, the current climate means he has to stay absolutely on top of his game to ensure his ticket to South Africa. Now, Ashwin isn't saying tough calls shouldn't be made, but he makes a really strong argument that moving on from aging legends shouldn't be handled like some corporate layoff. He is calling for direct communication. He wants the management to treat these players, who have given 2 decades of their lives to the country, with the respect and dignity their monumental careers actually demand. While a veteran's futures might be up in the air, let's look at what is certain in Part 4, the BCCI's tall pace strategy. The board has a very clear, highly data-driven blueprint for their bowling attack. Because winning outside the subcontinent means you have to adapt to the geography. South African pitches are famous for offering extra pace and steep bounce. To win there, you absolutely need fast bowlers who can exploit that vertical movement to just terrorize opposition batters. So, the BCCI is intentionally building a roster of absolute giants. You've got your experienced leaders like Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj, who bowl around 145 kilometers per hour at average height. But then, look at the new generation being groomed. You have Harshit Rana at 6'2", Arshdeep Singh and Prasidh Krishna at 6'3", and the towering Gurnor Brar at 6'5", who can hit up to 150 kilometers per hour. This whole strategy is being heavily pushed by bowling coach Morne Morkel, who happens to be a tall South African fast bowling legend himself. The guy knows exactly what it takes to extract maximum bounce from those pitches. And this physical adaptation isn't just a fun experiment. It is a dire necessity. Think about this. India hasn't won an ODI World Cup played outside the subcontinent since 2011. If they want to break that decades-long drought away from home dirt, they need a bowling attack tailor-made for those specific conditions. Which brings us to our final section, the quest for redemption. Because all of these moving parts, the intense coaching debates, the bittersweet veteran transitions, the grooming of these tall pacers, they are all driving toward one singular, powerful motivation. Current ODI captain Shubman Gill summed it up perfectly. He was part of that squad that suffered the heartbreaking loss to Australia in the 2023 final right on home soil. He is laser-focused on getting another crack at it. For Gill and this entire new generation, lifting that trophy in South Africa isn't just another tournament. It is the ultimate goal. And the expectations, they could not be higher. 5. India secured an unprecedented 5 ICC trophies last year across men's, women, and under-19 formats. Achieving that kind of dominance is incredibly rare. They've essentially set the bar for success at the absolute ceiling. Anything less than a victory in 2027 is going to be seen as falling short. So we are left at a fascinating crossroads. Will this chaotic but highly calculated transition phase forge a battle-hardened champion capable of conquering South Africa? Or will the ghost of Rahul Dravid's documented system and the loss of veteran locker room stability come back to haunt them when the pressure is really on? It's a 15-month journey we are going to be watching very, very closely. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and we'll see you next time. We